Everyone. I hope you can hear us, you can see us. If you see us, maybe you can comment that everything is working out nice. And I would love to say big welcome to Lorena because I'm really glad that you have accepted to be here as one of the speakers. Perfect. So again, Lorena, thank you for being here. Thank you for this topic. I think it's going to be very interesting for many people.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's such an honor to be with your community again and just to be with you. So I'm very grateful.
Lorena, I will say a few words, few sentences about you, but you can add anything that you feel like adding. You are a social emotional learning consultant. You're a parenting expert. You are Montessori certified. You are also trained in positive discipline as a positive discipline educator, mindfulness-based stress reduction teacher. You are a two-time masterclass instructor, TEDx speaker. I think you have worked with thousands of families worldwide. You are connecting the psychological research with the realities of modern family life. And you are also a mother of three. So you don't just give theory, you also give your personal experience and professional experience together. What did I forget?
No, you covered it all. That covers everything. Thank you so much for that introduction.
Perfect. So my first question, how you came about to do this work and why do you think this topic that you also covered during the TEDx talk, why do you think this topic is important?
Yes. Oh, I think it was a big setup for me. This was definitely my life, my mission, I think. I remember that drive home from the hospital with the newborn baby, with our first child, and my husband driving 15, 20 miles per hour. And we were, of course, carrying this most precious cargo with us. And I remember so vividly having this awe and just such love and reverence and respect for that baby. And of course, promising to myself that I would be the best mom and that I would love this little baby and with everything I got. And it was just such a romantic vision of parenting in that moment. But then you fast forward, not even 2 years after that, I had two very close together. The first two, they were 18 months apart. So there I was, sleep deprived with a new baby, nursing around the clock. And all of a sudden, there I am yelling at my toddler. And in that moment, I realized what happened? How did I go from that love and reverence and awe to this? And now I'm sounding a lot like my mother. And I was raised in Brazil, in the south of Brazil, and even the best parents down there, it's a different culture. They will use a lot of the traditional raising their voice, the threats, the shame, the punishments, including a lot of spanking and all the things. So for me, this was a really personal journey because one of my early memories that I have from my childhood, I was about 5 or 6. I have a brother who's just a little bit older than me, also 18 months apart. And my mom was a very scary, angry mom at times. But we're in our kitchen, and I can vividly remember that old kitchen of ours. But she is making us kneel down and kiss her feet to apologize for something we did. So it was that type of emotional abuse, or just that toxicity, that dysfunction, right? I don't even remember what we did wrong. I think we touched something we shouldn't, or maybe even broke it. But that was the punishment. And in that moment, I remember her just looking so tall, so big, because I was on my knees. And my face was just so red. And I was just so embarrassed, so humiliated to be doing that. And I thought, when I'm a parent, I'm never going to do anything like this. This is so wrong. And making that silent promise to myself that I would do differently. But then, of course, hearing echoes of that same anger in my own voice was heartbreaking for me. And that was what brought me to this. I was like, I'm not going to replicate this. I need to find a way. I'll make a way if I have to. But that was when I dove into reading every piece of article, every book, and taking every class, and tried all the things so I would be a calm mom that I really wanted to be. That's how I came about.
Mm-hmm. Aka here is asking, how old were you when you did this kneeling?
I was about 5 or 6. It was little when that happened. It stuck with me. And I completely understand my mother now. Now I know how hard it is to show up when we're overwhelmed, and that she was doing her best. She was just overwhelmed. And she was raised by a very abusive father who was raised by a neglectful mother. I really came from a long line of this toxic parent-child dynamic. So it felt that I was programmed. I was programmed to be a bad mom. That's how I felt, that I got that poor programming.
What do you think is holding parents back from being the parents they want to be?
After talking to thousands of parents and working with thousands of teachers and working with hundreds of families within their homes and seeing the everyday hassles and the ins and outs of that dynamic, what I learned, what I found out, is that all the parenting challenges that they would tell me fell within one of 4 categories. And it's what I then developed into my research, being the 4 biggest obstacles that we have that hold us back, that keeps us tripping, right? And the first one, so out of everybody's complaints and challenges and troubles they were having, the number one is the state of mind. We are often tired and stressed and triggered and frustrated. And in that state of mind, it doesn't matter how many books we read, that we went to the talk, we took notes, we had every intention to implement, and we have our news feed, our Instagram feed filled with parenting advice. In the heat of the moment, everything goes out the window and we just cannot access that. So it's not that we have a strategy problem, is they realize that I just can't use it when I need the most. Under the most stressful moments, it escapes me, it fails me. And that's the number one, the biggest thing holding us back is our state of mind. The second thing I learned that holds us back is then, okay, we did inherit some strategies, right? Our parents maybe did raise their voices or threaten or bribe or reward or praise. And we also see it all around us and at the playground, on the movies, right? In America, the number one parenting tool is yelling, right? Or it is the bribing, the threat, all of that. And that's in the punitive side of things. But we also have all the strategies that are in the permissive side of things. We also give in. We let our kids get away with things. We fix for them. We rescue them. And we enable. And we end up becoming a little bit of a doormat at times, or a pushover, right? So what I realized is that, okay, we have some strategies, but they're just not great strategies. They're good at best in the very short term, because we know that if we do yell, our kids actually then do it, right? We know that if we threaten them, they are going to be manipulated to cooperate or maybe comply. We know that if they're afraid they're going to get hurt, we can get them to comply. But that comes with a huge cost, right? That emotional cost, the emotional distancing, plus the punitive strategies will invite the rebellion or invite them to sneak. So they still behave bad, but they just don't let us find out. And then the permissive tools also come with a huge social emotional cost as well, because the child then becomes a little bit socially painful and starts to get that negative feedback from the world around them, where they're being reprimanded by the parents, the teachers, friends are not inviting them over, don't want to play, or they become socially painful, and that comes with a big negative feedback loop. So what holds us back is lack of better strategies, because we're trying to replace all these strategies that now we learn, okay, the punitive things are not good. The permissive, we became a little too permissive, then we went into that direction. Now we're figuring it out that, okay, that's also not good. How do we find that sweet spot where we are kind and firm at the same time all the time, right? And it's the tricky here is that it's not a balance. A lot of parents think that we just need to have balance. And I say, absolutely not. Because a balance would be, I'm going to be nasty for an hour, right? And then I'll be Mary Poppins and super sweet for an hour. And that's balanced. That's very toxic, right? That's very inconsistent. That's not good. So I help parents come find that sweet spot where they hold high standards for their kids with really high support so their kids can meet those standards. And they are not the protector, permissive parent, but they are not the enforcer, the authoritarian parent either. And they find that really good spot, which we know authoritative, has been known for a while, but just lately I've been talking about this mentor mindset. It's really stepping into, instead of being either the enforcer or the protector, you become the mentor, right? So instead of managing the behavior, you're really coaching your kid, you're mentoring. So that's the second thing that holds us back, is that lack of strategy. Then the third thing that holds us back is that, okay, sometimes in the heat of the moment, we can't find the right tools. And then often we don't even have the right strategies, which I just talked about. And we hear all the tips, the tools, the tricks, and the scripts and everything. But it always feels like it's almost like we're playing a game of chess with the whispered moves, but we never master the game. Right? And we never really learn how to master this parenting thing. And then things go slightly off script, right? Our kids don't respond the way we thought they're going to respond. And now we're like, what do I do now? I did all this, I gave choice, but my kid didn't want to take the choice. I said that, but my kid still was throwing a tantrum, right? And then they feel like, okay, now I don't know what to do next. So those are the first two. And then even when we manage to maybe be in a good state of mind and find some good strategies, we often throw it at a massive wall of disconnection, right? And then they don't work. And we are left thinking, oh, these things don't work for my kid. My kid is extra difficult, or there's just something wrong. So that disconnection is a huge thing that holds us back. When our kids feel disconnected, they will either shut down or they will rebel. And then we can never get through them, right? So we have to crack them up, get through them. But that disconnection is a huge obstacle for us to overcome. And we don't like to listen to people we're not feeling connected to, right? So we know that. And I think I have some pretty good advice, but now raising 3 teenagers, I know that my 16-year-old is not going to want to hear even my best advice. Is not going to be welcomed if she's not feeling connected to me, right? She's going to push it back. She's going to challenge it. She's going to reject that. So for us to be effective, we really need that connection to be there. And that's a huge obstacle to overcome. And then the fourth one, the last obstacle I found out, the fourth thing that all challenges fall under, the fourth category is that in the heat of the moment, our emotional intelligence, our kids' emotional intelligence, it's on the floor, right? It's just, there's a system crash and we become instant opponents, right? We become that angry disciplinarian or the doormat, right? And our kids become the bad kid in that instant. And now from this place of being instant opponents, we can never work things out together. We can never get to the bottom of what's going on. So that's a huge obstacle to overcome, is how can we become emotionally intelligent and able to sort things out, troubleshoot, get to the root of it in these hard moments. So those are the 4 things I've observed over the past 15 years and figured that those are the biggest things for us to overcome.
Perfect. I had a different question prepared, but I'm thinking maybe we could take some example situation, and maybe we could find a way, like, what are all of these 4 things that you have talked about and how we could approach it differently. What do you think?
Yes, I would love that. Shall
So,
we, do we want to
yes,
use that?
I'm actually, what I want to ask whoever is now listening to us, and we have quite a number of people, if you would like to describe a situation that you would want us to guide you through. I think that could be. So if you want to share with us your situation, I will give you a minute.
Yeah.
In the
I've missed number 1. Okay, so I'm just going to review all 4. So our state of mind, so our mindset is the biggest one that holds us back. That's 80% of our future success comes from our in between our ears, our mindset, right? So that's the number 1, mindset. And maybe you can even put on the chat which one you think is the one that you trip over the most. What holds you back, and it's what's your biggest obstacle? Is it the mindset? Is it lack of strategies, better strategies? Is it the disconnection, your kids shutting down or rebelling, right? And you can't get through them, even when you're using good strategies, right? Or is it that the emotional intelligence of the family, it's on the floor and you guys are not working together as a team? So mindset, strategy, connection, or EQ.